The word sanctify basically means to be set apart. For the Christian, there are three aspects of sanctification, of which each person of the Trinity plays a role in. The first aspect is positional sanctification, which is based on the death of Christ. And it basically says that each Christian is a part of the family of God. The second aspect of sanctification is the progressive work of believers and the Spirit to always be progressing in their Christian lives to become more set apart. The third aspect of sanctification is usually referred to as ultimate sanctification, which will take place in heaven when God sets us apart eternally and ultimately for His pleasure.
There are many views of sanctification, but the one that I will be discussing is the most predominant in America, and that is the Keswick view of sanctification. This view says that one can attain a complete spiritual victory over sin in their life. This view sees sanctification as an event instead of a process. Many phrases came out of this movement, such as let go and let God, or I surrender all. It doesn't take a Christian very long to understand that this simply doesn't work. You can never have complete spiritual victory over sin in your life. You will be fighting this until you die. Now, this doesn't mean to take sin lightly or to go out into sin. The Keswick view says that the normal Christian life is victory over sin. You can never come to this point. As you are trying to mortify your sin and to sanctify yourself, sin will fight back. It's a constant boxing match. That's the way the Christian life is. There will always be this fight.
Let's talk for a moment about God's role and my role in sanctification. Whose responsibility is it? Is it my responsibility to pull up my bootstraps of holiness and get to it? Or is it God's responsibility? I mean, after all, if He wants me to be holy, won't He produce the desire for holiness in me? Paul writes a helpful word in Philippians chapter 2 when he says, "Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, for it is God who works in you, both to will and to work for His good pleasure." Salvation here seems to be referring to salvation from one's own sinful life, otherwise known as sanctification. When we put it together, we see that it is both my responsibility to work out my own salvation and God's responsibility to will and to work. How this looks is as I read the Scriptures and work in my sanctification, God then comes behind me and produces a greater desire for the Scriptures. Likewise, even if I don't feel like it, as I pray, God then comes and produces a greater desire for prayer. Sanctification is a partnership where both me and God work together. Think of it as a sailboat. In sanctification, I work as I raise the sail, and God works as He sends the wind.